and we'll get going. So we have our Monday night Rock Your Life call. I'm going to keep to this, not talk long, so we can get Todd on here and just blast us with some great info. Those of you who do not know me, I'm Chad Zanotti, physical therapist and strength coach. I've been a part of this awesome business and our team for the last 4 years. Had the honor of taking part in Todd's 12-week A-team, and anyone who does not know anything about the 12-week A-team, look into it because it was stellar. Focuses on accountability and action, and because of that, I've built big-time momentum with my business, contacts galore, and I thank you, Todd, for that. To introduce Todd Falcone, although most of you are well aware, Todd's one of the leading trainers in our profession of network marketing. 25 years of experience, and for the last 15 years, he's been coach, trainer, and advisor to some of the most successful men and women within our profession. Many are speaking praises of him. Jordan Adler from Beach Money wrote the book Beach Money. Richard Bliss Brooke wrote the book The 4-Year Career, and our own Susan Sly, 7-figure earner with Isogenics and also author of The Habit All Woman. Todd is speaking regularly all over the planet, training people, coaching people. And I think, Todd, if I'm not mistaken, on every one of our 12 calls over the 12 weeks, you were in a different country each time. So all over. I think, Jojo, I think Todd's muted out right now. Can we unmute him? There we go. Perfect.
All right. Yes.
So, yeah, welcome, man. Thank you so much for being on here.
It's my pleasure. Great to be here. Anytime I get a chance to share with a group of folks that want to be successful in network marketing, I jump at the opportunity. So happy to be here with you guys.
Do you mind if we get started? Just a few questions and then, open the floor. I know you got some things you want to cover too.
Sure. No problem. Let's do it.
So the first question I have, what would you suggest as a few actions to take when people feel like their prospect list has been exhausted? They don't have any other people.
Well, my goodness. I mean, people are everywhere. Just getting out of your house, leaving the house, going out and meeting people, doing stuff, getting involved in things that you like to do. I don't know. Everybody has their own interest, their own thing that they love doing. So if you've run out of people to talk to, I think literally leaving the house, going out, maybe, I don't know, what's your thing? Going to the gym, going skiing, going fishing, joining a fishing club, going into finding some cool meetup or something like that. The meetup.com, for example, is really fascinating because you can find groups of people that match your personal interests. Like if you're a hardcore skier, you could go join a ski group and you could go hang out with a bunch of people that you have something in common with. You love music. You could join a group of people that are into music. You could, my suggestion is find out, you already know what you love to do. Go find people who love doing the same thing that you do. It's easy to find those individuals. And I wouldn't say go troll the malls and try to find people doing that. I think it's, people are everywhere. And let's say, for example, you don't live in a big town. You live in a town of 12 people. Well, there's some other things you can do there. Obviously, you can get involved in a little bit more in social media and find groups. You can do the same thing with social media as far as connecting with people. One thing I would say is I kind of avoid going into entrepreneur or network marketing groups because a lot of times, like for example, a Facebook network marketing group, most of them anyhow, are just a bunch of network marketers that are, shooting their guns at people, trying to pitch people their deal, and there's very little engagement and interaction. I'd rather, for example, ski season's coming up. I love steelhead fishing. I'm involved in different groups on Facebook that have absolutely nothing to do with network marketing, and I'm able to connect with people that have common interests even online without even having to leave my house.
Cool. And the meetup.com is a free service, right? For those who aren't aware of it.
Yeah, and there's other things. I mean, there's local chambers of commerce. There's networking groups like BNI. There's business groups. There's women's groups. There's mom groups. There's dad groups. There's all sorts of things that you can get involved in And Google's pretty amazing. It's amazing what happens. You can just Google something and it pops up and you can go find it. So not hard to go meet people. I think the one thing I would say is don't go out there meeting people with the intention of I'm going to pitch everybody my business. Go out with the whole thought process of I want to go connect with people, which is really a lot of, I just got off my Monday night 5 o'clock call, and that was a lot of what was discussed, is just making friends, making connections, meeting new people, and finding out about them. And one thing I say on stage all the time is, and it comes from the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, be genuinely interested, not interesting. And I know I sound like at least to me, I sound like a broken record when I say that, because I say that all the time, but it's valuable. People are so busy and so concerned about themselves that when they finally meet somebody that really is truly interested in them and who they are, those individuals really, you can create a deep connection with somebody when you're really authentically interested in another human being.
So it's in essence taking your network marketing hat off. In our case, taking your Isagenix hat off and just going out and meeting people.
Absolutely. 100%.
Cool. Another question would be, what are 2 things you'd coach someone on who is brand new to the profession? A couple things that you'd suggest to someone who's just, wet behind the ears, ready to go.
Number 1, and this is something I say all the time as well, do what the doers are doing. Don't do what the don'ters are doing. Follow the producers. Find people within your company that you can look up to that are producers, and do your best to emulate their behavior and do what they're doing. When I started 26 years ago, because in every company there are people that do and there are people that don't. I mean, even as, in Isagenix, as good as that company is, as big as they are, as successful as they are, there are people that make excuses for not doing, and there are people that just go crush it. Attach yourself to the doers, attach yourself to the producers. Number 2, I would say being inquisitive, being curious. I think that's a great quality. Asking questions, and I think any successful person that's actively involved and serious about their business, if you came to me and I was a successful rep in a company, and you asked me a question, I would be more than willing to help you. I love helping people that are curious and want to know. You just have to ask. There's power in asking questions. Plugging into the training, the resources that are available within your organization and within your company. Not just signing up and tossing your distributor kit aside and blowing off the training, but really engulfing and becoming, a product of the product. Also, in your case with Isagenix, being, someone who's really creating their own story, creating their own product story, I think is a big thing. And then, leveraging, while you haven't, maybe, if you're brand new, maybe you don't have a story yet, well, you can utilize the successes of other people from a story standpoint. That phrase, I know it sounds cliche, but facts tell, stories sell. Ingredients are nice, but it's the results, the emotional impact that a product experience might have, or a business experience might have with someone, that's more important than, how many milligrams of whatever is in the product.
Cool. How about for a proverbial veteran, someone who's been in the business for a handful of years, and what would you coach them on?
That's an easy one. Stay in primary production mode. Do not ever fall into this thing where you're just managing, overseeing your team and working with your team members. That's what I call the kiss of death in network marketing. When you when you first get started, it's you and you're all alone. And then it's you and a couple people. Then it's you and a few more. Then you're growing a little bit bigger team, and now you got 50, 100, a couple hundred people. Now you got 500, 1,000 people. Now you're working with your team. And it can be very, very easy to fall into this thing where you're just working with your team, but don't ever fall into that, because that literally is the kiss of death. People see what you're doing. They know whether you're recruiting or not. The number one activity from that in the beginning, and the number one activity all the way to the end, is that you're bringing in new customers, you're bringing in new distributors. People do what they see you doing more so than what you tell them to do. So I think it's really important to stay in primary production mode. Here's a quick story, and I don't know. I see names on here, but some of you may have heard this story. But this story, October 15th, I get a phone call from a guy, And he called me up and he said, gosh, Todd, things aren't going well in my business. And I'm always willing to help people that call me up and are asking for my advice. And I've known this guy for 8 or 9 years, and he's only been in one company as long as I've known him. And he called me like, hey, what's new out there? What's good? Like, he was like looking for a new company. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Before we even get into that, let's talk about what's up with you. Why are you even asking me that question? And I said, let me ask you this. I said, he was just like, oh, business isn't going really well. I don't know. And he was just, it's down. And I said, well, and this was October 15th. We had this conversation. I said, well, let me ask you this question. How many people have you personally recruited in 2016? And he goes, well, how many people were added to my team? I said, no, dude, I didn't ask you how many people were added to your team. You know the question I asked you. You know me. So if you're going to ask me a question, you better answer direct. And I said, how many people did you personally recruit so far in 2016? And his answer was 4. I go, okay, well, I kind of already know the answer. And I said, okay, well, now you've been in the company for 9 years. How many people have you personally recruited in 9 years? And he goes, well, in 9 years, I've recruited about 40. 9 years. Are you kidding me? 40 people. So, I mean, there's the answer already. I don't need to go into the rest of the story. That's why his business isn't going very well. What's interesting is I actually interviewed Kelly Calabrese today, who many of you probably know, successful Isogenics rep. She's recruited over 800 people in her tenure with 800 personally. In 2016, she's personally recruited over 100. So her business is booming, and is booming because she's in primary production mode and never lost sight of the fact that, yeah, while you do have to work with your team members and there's time working with your organization and doing three-way calls and meetings and all that stuff, you have to stay in primary production mode. That's number one for people that have been in for an extensive period of time.
And the numbers game, I mean, it's a numbers game like any other business, like any other program. It's all a numbers game, correct?
Yeah, I mean, some are going to do it. Some are going to respond favorably. Some aren't. And it doesn't matter how good you are, how much money you've made, how successful you are. You're still going to – I mean, you could be making $1 million a year, and you still get people that say no to you. Just because you've got the top rank in a compensation plan and you're crushing it doesn't mean that everybody that you talk to joins. You still have to play the numbers. And it is what it is. And it's something that I think everyone in network marketing needs to embrace, the fact that, it's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to join you. Sometimes it's timing, but that is a fact. That's the way it is.
Now I'm gonna plug this, man. I was sending you messages on how quick I read this book, how much I took from it. I'm reading it multiple times now, and there's a little excerpt in here I want to read. And how you were just describing that scenario with that guy, it depicts this. If you're new to me, I'll tell you right now that I'm very blunt. I don't beat around the bush in my trainings, soften things up, or cream cheese anything. I don't have the time for it, and neither do you. I really like that, dude. That was a really cool phrase in there. So I appreciate you answering those questions. Now, if you got whatever you got, man, we have a bunch of people on the call here who are totally excited about what you've already offered to us and what you're about to offer to us. We cannot thank you enough for being on here. And we're going to I know I'm taking bunches of notes here. Totally excited to take this and put it in play. So whatever you got for us, man, we're going to gobble it up.
All right. Well, we got 6 hours.
Yeah. I'd be on here for 6 hours for sure, man.
I'm teasing. I don't have 6 hours right now, but okay. So let's talk about a couple of things. Number one, and here's the thing. There's two things I'm going to say. Number one, your success starts with a decision. And this is one of those things that I say repeatedly. And I say it repeatedly because it's one of those things that it's just that important. A lot of people get involved in network marketing and they really haven't made a decision. I mean, people that attend events, that attend Super Saturdays, that buy stuff, that buy tapes and books and things and go to national conferences, the clock is ticking for them because they really haven't made a decision. It's like they got involved in network marketing And if it works for them on the timeline that they've created for themselves, and cool. And if it doesn't work out on the timeline that they've personally set for themselves, then they're out of there. It's like, like when I started, nobody told me this, but I thought, man, nobody said you're going to do this, but I saw the potential in network marketing. I thought I'd be making 10 grand a month in 90 days. So I quit my job. And I wasn't, I was 22 years old. I didn't have any savings, but the job was paying me. It was putting food in my mouth and putting a roof over my head and making my car payments and stuff. And I quit that job thinking that I would be making, all this money. And I didn't really make any money the first 2 years I was involved in network marketing. I had to move home and live in the bunk beds in my parents' house, which was pretty humbling. But I knew that I was going to be involved in network marketing. And even though I had to go through a regrouping phase, that decision that I made when I walked in, I remember walking in that first business opportunity presentation. I never heard of multi-level network marketing. I didn't have a friend that tried something. I never had an aunt that did it. I didn't even know what it was. I just walked in and I watched this presentation. I'm like, what? What's not to get about this? Are you kidding me? This is awesome. You mean we can share this product with people that makes sense, and we can make a little retail profit on it, and we can build a team. We can earn a percentage on everything that they do. What's not to get about it? And I started my journey. And, I didn't perform based on my own expectations. A lot of times we overpromise and we underdeliver on our own expectations. And I think that phrase, patience is a virtue, is definitely something that works. I'm not saying that it has to take forever and it's going to take you years to be successful, but chances are it's going to probably take a little bit longer than maybe you anticipate. So it's important for you to exercise patience in the midst of while you're going through the journey of becoming successful. And to me, the other part of making a decision, a real decision, is backed up by action immediately. So if you've decided to do something, you immediately take action, and you keep on taking action until you accomplish whatever it is that you're seeking to accomplish, whatever that thing is, in or out of network marketing. And it's what's fascinating is a lot of people, like, for example, a couple years ago, I did an event. It was about 1,500 people at that event. We had a little fishbowl at a table, and we were giving away some stuff. And I collected 320 business cards at that event. And a year later, I had that fishbowl on my desk, and I thought, I'm going to call all these people and see what's up and see where they're at and how they're doing. What was fascinating to me is 70% of the people were either out of network marketing or onto another deal. And I thought, I'm looking at their business card going, wait a minute, you're in a good company and you're now onto another company. And they're thinking like the solution is somewhere else, but the solution's actually in the bathroom mirror when you go look at yourself. So for me, I would say, those of you that are watching, is, have you made a decision, or do you have an out? And the cool thing about making a decision is when you have made the decision that you're going to do this until you succeed, you don't really you no longer have another, it's like that burning the ship story, right? You've burnt your ships. You can't retreat. This is going forward is the only thing that you can do. Well, if that's the case, then all the resources have to avail themselves to you, because you don't have another path to go on. And that's a really strong thing to think about. I mean, for example, if I asked you guys right now, and this is a very serious question. If I told you, like, starting tomorrow, the only source of income that you could have in your life is your isogenics business. You don't have a job. You don't have, your wife or husband doesn't have a job. The only way money will come into your household is from your isogenics business. And there is literally no other option at all available to you. It is only that business. That's the only way you're going to eat. That's the only way you're going to put a roof over your head. That's the only way you're going to pay your car payments, pay your bills, get your kids, whatever it is, right? If that was the only option to you, would you act differently than you're doing currently? A lot of people will say, yeah, I'd act differently. Heck yeah, I would do whatever it takes. Well, okay. If that's the case, then why aren't you doing it already? Why aren't you acting that way already if that's the case? If you were forced to only have one option, you would do whatever it took. You would go out and you'd get up early, you'd stay out as late as you had to, you'd talk to anybody, anywhere, at any time. You would do whatever it took, because, when you're hungry and you got to eat and you got to drive your kid, you got to put gas in your car, and the only option is you got to cycle in order to do it, then you would go do it. So why not just go do it? To me, it's like, wow, you start thinking about that, and you're like, okay, well, now I get it. And so I don't want to point fingers, because I don't know who would answer yes to that or not, but If you'd answer yes to that, then why would you then not already be doing it? Maybe that's something you can journal on tonight and ponder a little bit. Maybe wake up tomorrow and do something differently. That's one thing. I would say another thing is just staying relevant. Knowing the basic. There's a formula that I talk about when I'm doing seminars, and the formula it's an acronym. It's MASS. Mindset plus action plus skill set equals success. I think that's the formula for success in really any business, but certainly in network marketing. It's your attitude, it's your mindset, it's your beliefs around what you do. Your whole, Tony Robbins talks about 80%. Success is 80% psychology, 20% mechanics. How you think about what you do, especially in network marketing. I mean, let's be honest here. There are people out there that have opinions about network marketing and say things about network marketing, don't understand it, don't get it. Here's the bad news. The negative people are never going to stop. They'll never stop. I mean, a couple years ago, here's an example. I'm at AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am golf tournament. Haven't missed it in like 20 years. Great tournament, super people watching, just a blast. We're sitting there. We're downstairs. We got this great outdoor lunch spot, perfect people watching spot in Pebble. So much fun, hanging out with my friends. And there's this guy that kind of joined our group, and he comes up to me and he starts talking to me, and he's like, "So what do you do?" And I said, I run a seminar company and I teach entrepreneurs, and I left it at that. I don't run around with like autographed pictures of myself. Hey, you want my picture? I mean, it's just so I just. The guy's like, so what kind of entrepreneurs? I said, well, I teach people that are involved in network marketing, direct selling, multi-level marketing, how to be successful in those companies. And he goes, oh, you mean like meh? With a really pissy attitude, like just and I'm looking at the guy. So he asks me what I do, he digs, and then he gives this attitude, and you mean like nah, and he mentioned this company name. And it pissed me off. And I just looked at the guy and I go, yeah, exactly like meh. And I just looked at him and I go, so what do you do? And he's like, well, I'm a account executive, something. I don't know what he said. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I just dead looked him in the eye. I was not going to lose eye contact with him. And I was like, oh, so you have a job. And I just froze on his face until he got really, really uncomfortable and he walked away. And I'm not making fun of jobs. I hate the fact that we use that acronym JOB, stands for just over broke. I think that needs to go away. I think anybody who has a job should be commended. They're taking care of their family. They're taking care of their obligations. But don't come at me, man. If you come at me, you're getting the horns. And that really roots from having a really solid belief in the business model of network marketing. And I think that's one of the other foundational principles of being successful in this business is, how do you feel about network marketing? Somebody asks you, is this network marketing? How do you respond to that? A lot of people are afraid to admit that it's network marketing. In fact, they try to disguise it as something else or call it something else altogether. If somebody says, hey, is this network marketing? My answer is absolutely it is. If it wasn't, I wouldn't touch it. And it's very different. And that's coming. And it's weird because when you do that, people come back like, whoa, that's a different response. Most of the people that I talk to try to shimmy around it and not even say what they're involved in. To me, I'm proud to be involved in network marketing. It's a business that anybody can get involved in, creates opportunity for amazing personal growth, for an opportunity for you to stretch yourself and earn more money than you probably could in a lot of different occupations, and to make an amazing amount of new friends and have great relationships and just do cool things. So and I'll just say this, I think so is everybody that's in this meeting, is everybody in Isogenics, same company, 100% of the people here?
Yep.
Okay, so look, here's the deal. Okay, network marketing, if we look at direct selling, and these are the facts, like it's a $190 billion a year profession. That's not chump change. Over 100 million people, just like all of you, all over the world, are involved as independent distributors in network marketing. The business is big. It's here to stay. And then you guys represent a company that is, in my opinion, one of the best network marketing companies out there. They have a solid track record of consistent year in, year out growth. You've got some of the best owners in the business. They hire some of the best people. I mean, just some of the new executives that they brought on board are awesome. You can look at the track record. Like Isogenics isn't on trial. Network marketing's on trial. You're on trial. You're on trial from the standpoint of whether you're going to make the decision to step up to the plate and swing the bat and keep stepping up to the plate in spite of maybe striking out a few times. I've talked to so many people that didn't join me, that said no, that said I was crazy, that thought I was nuts. I had friends that made fun of me. I had friends that didn't want to hang out with me anymore because I was in a network marketing deal. And that's them. I mean, and if people are like that, and you'll meet people that are like that, I'm sure you already have. You've had people that are like, ew, yeah, why don't you get a real job? Why don't you come paint houses with us, or whatever it is that your buddy's doing? I mean, my buddies were painting houses and washing windows. I was like, dude, I don't like heights. I have no desire to get on a ladder and clean somebody's window. That's all you. And if you want to make fun of me for what I'm doing, then that's cool. It's funny, many, many years later, all these guys are like, dude, you're still doing it. I'm so proud of you. They'll come around eventually, maybe. And if they don't, who cares? You just keep on prospecting and keep on moving yourself forward. So, that first thing is the decision thing. Have you really decided? It's cool that you're here. I appreciate that. That's awesome. But have you really decided? Number two, where's your belief level? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are you hanging out with? If you make it a point to surround yourself with bigger people that are thinking bigger, that are doing bigger things, then you're going to do bigger things. They're going to push you to do bigger things. Like, I'll give an example. So I love snow skiing. I've been skiing for, I don't even want to say how many years. Oh my gosh, let's see. I've been skiing for 43 years. I'm pretty good at skiing after 43 years. I ski patrolled for 7 years. It's the one sport that I know I can crush it at. And when I go skiing, I don't want to go skiing with a bunch of slow pokes because I don't want to wait for you. It's like you're dragging my ski game down. But if I go ski, in fact, I'll tell you something. About 3 years ago, I was at Alpental in Washington State. I hook up with this is what I mean by upping your game. So I first in line, first before the chairs open, and there's this guy that I'm standing next to in line, and we ride the chair. We go up to the second chair, and he's like, "You skiing with anybody?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "You want to make some loops?" I'm like, "Yeah." So we start making loops, and this guy is good, man. I've been skiing my whole life, and I'm doing everything I can to keep up with this guy. I mean, he rips. And I'm like, "Whoa, geez." I mean, we go till about lunch. We exchange phone numbers. I'm like, "What do you do?" He said, I sell real estate. And we were talking about where he sold real estate. And he knew a friend of mine because he sold him a lot over in Eastern Washington. And the funny thing is, he goes, I called my buddy. I'm like, "Hey, so do you know Brad Vancour?" And he's like, "Oh, Rad Brad?" I'm like, "Rad Brad? What are you talking about?" He said, "Oh, did he tell you what he does or what he did?" I'm like, "Nah." He said he's in real estate. He sold you your lot over in Suncadia. He goes, "No, dude." He goes, "That guy was one of Warren Miller's 7 key skiers, and he was in like every movie in the 1990s that Warren Miller did." He goes, "Did he ski good?" I'm like, "Oh my God." The whole time I was with him, I was like just trying to keep up with him on his tails. He made me ski as hard as I've ever skied. He goes, "Yeah, because the guy's, used to be," I mean, the crazy thing is he was so humble. I skied with him the following Sunday, and I looped around with him about 4 or 5 times before I looked at him on the chairlift, and I go, "Hey, what's up, Rad Brad?" And he looked at me like, "How do you know that?" I said, "Well, I talked to Brent. He told me he used to ski for Warren Miller. Tell me about that." And the cool thing, he was like super humble about it too. He didn't say, "Oh yeah, I skied for Warren Miller and I'm a crusher." He just was a guy that pushed me, and it was fun to ski with that guy. And we kept skiing together because he pushed me to perform at a higher level that I would even I was already skiing at a high level, that he pushed me even harder. So you get around people like that in network marketing, surround yourself with other successful people, even if they're out of network marketing, they're just, they just do big things. Then you're going to, it's like that phrase, you become exactly like those that you hang out with. So those are a few little tips that I have. I mean, I can certainly share more. I don't know if you got any questions or anybody else has questions. I'm happy to help out. One other thing, one thing, and I'll take a couple questions if you guys feel like asking them. So you guys, and I see a few of you that have done my accountability program that we just wrapped up. I run a 12-week accountability program. This is an exercise that for some of you is going to hurt, but the pain, it's like it's a good pain. And this is another thing that I do on almost every stage I speak on. So if you're sitting there, I see all your faces. Hi, you guys look great. You're all beautiful. Wait a minute. I got to go like that for president. What's up? I see you. And if I had the beanie, I'd throw the beanie on. I can hang on a second. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I got the beanie. I can do that too. I got my tie-dye beanie. All right, so we'll go with that for just a moment. I got one of my Fearless Networker hats as well. So, look, here's the thing. I want you to do this for you, for your business, for the next 30, 60, in fact, for the rest of your life, because this is the best reality check that you can do, because a lot of people kid themselves into believing that they're active in this business. And active in this business, revenue producing activities, is you talking to people about your products and your business. And if you're not talking to people about your products and your business, you're a seat warmer. You're a bench warmer sitting on the sidelines watching everybody else play the game. So the exercise is this, and you can do it right now. In fact, because what is it? Whatever time it is, it's late in the afternoon. It's towards the tail end of most people's day, whoever's watching this. Draw a little box on a piece of paper if you're taking notes. It's a little square. And in the square, I want you to write a number, and it's pretty simple. Here it is. You're going to write the number of new people that you talked to today about your business. How many new exposures today did you talk to? Not follow-ups, not talking to your sponsor, not calling into a training call. How many new people did you talk to today about your business? And here's the deal. 0 is not a good number. That's not a good number. If you wrote a 0 and you're in this business, you're thinking, hey, I'm in this business, then you're really not in the business. Because, I mean, it's late in the afternoon, early evening, late evening, depending on where you're watching this. And you mean you couldn't have talked to at least one person, had one conversation with somebody about your products or your business? And there's a phrase that I made up about 10 years ago that goes along with that box. And those of you that have followed me for a while, you already know it. But I'll tell you, those are, I see some people smiling. I see JoJo going, I know what it is. Double digits a day keep the commission checks on their way. Double digits a day keep the commission checks on their way. What's a double digit? Well, the first double digit's a 10. You mean, Todd, I have to talk to 10 people a day, otherwise I'm not going to be successful in this business? Are you telling me that? No, I'm not. I didn't say that. What I did say is double digits a day keep the commission checks on their way. That doesn't mean every single day you have to talk to 10 people, otherwise you're not in the business. What it does mean is you have to get your numbers up. And what's so cool is this is a reflective exercise. It's like going into, it's like you're determining for yourself, because the thing, you have to learn to be personally accountable. In a business that there virtually is no accountability, because you don't have a boss, your sponsor isn't your boss, nobody's going to get your butt out of bed to go do the business but you. And there is a little bit of a learning curve of going, because you're working at home, it can be easy to lay on the couch, it can be easy to do the laundry, it can be easy to watch Oprah reruns or whatever your show is, and avoid all the things that matter. But if you end every single day and you draw a box on a piece of paper and you're just honest with yourself and you write in the number of new people that you talked to that day about the business, you'll get sick of looking at that number, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 2, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, whatever that number is, and you'll know exactly why your check is where it is and why you're not cycling. If you get your numbers up and you consistently are in a reality check with yourself, then you will see successes because you're getting the numbers up. And like you said earlier, like we talked about, it is a numbers game. And then now we can just be real with one another, or you can be real with yourself, because I meet people all the time. And I'll tell you something else. So that conversation I had back in October, that's like Groundhog Day conversation with me in my office. This is standard chat when I answer the phone, somebody calls me and they go, oh, gee, Todd, my business isn't going well. You know, things aren't going well. I swear to you, this is the same conversation. Multiple people, same conversation. Hang on, I got to hydrate for a second. Hey, it's green. Good color, huh? So the conversation is, Todd, my business isn't going well. Okay, I'm sorry. Tell me about that. How long have you been in it? Well, I've been in the business for whatever, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever. Good company, you know, not some gifting program, not some money game, not some silly nothingness. And the question I always ask, because they're calling me asking for my advice, this is the question: how many people would you say that you've exposed to your products or your business in the last 90 days? Just give me an idea. Well, not enough. Dude, I didn't ask you to tell me not enough or enough. How many people? Is it closer to 5 or is it closer to 500? I mean, maybe you don't have the exact number, but I mean, if you look back at your last 90 days, what do you think that number is? And typically the answer is around somewhere between 10 and 15. And I don't think there's anybody on the Zoom that can tell me that talking to a total of 10 or 15 people in the last 90 days is even remotely close to enough to say that you're actually in the business. I don't think there's anybody here that would say, yeah, that should be plenty, because it's not even close to plenty. And then I'll back it up with this. Well, how many, and people ask me this all the time. Well, what's the number? How many people should I talk to? You talk about this double digits a day, keep the commission checks on their way thing. Does that mean that 10's the magic number? No, but you do as much as you can in the time that you have available to you, and you should be spending most of your time, especially when you're new, prospecting new business, finding new customers, doing presentations, putting new people in the business, putting new people in the product. So, it's where the rubber meets the road. It's the defining thing for most people as to whether or not they're actually really engaged in the business. So, yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? Then we can definitely open the floor up.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, listening to you over that 12-week period, first call we were on, I could tell you possess this conviction. And we talked about conviction a couple weeks ago. Where along the way did you find, dude, I get this. I love it. I'm all about it. You got to a point where you looked in that guy's eyes and you just didn't release contact with his eyes. Where did that hit you along the way?
I think for me, the conviction came, the first real place where I was like, okay, I get it, was when I had a little proof in the pudding. So I was working for probably, I don't know, maybe 12 or 13 months, and I did a whole bunch of volume and I cracked a $13,000 check. And I was like, whoa. I mean, I never made anything close to 13 grand. I mean, I don't know. I think my annual income up till that point, before, because I started at 22, maybe my total income for a whole year was like $13,000. My jobs before that were Jack in the Box and McDonald's, making $3.35 an hour. I guess I'm dating myself when I talk about $3.35 an hour being the minimum wage. But I think that was one thing, was knowing, okay, I'm like, it's real. There's the check. I got the check. Now, the crazy thing was, the next check the next month was like almost nothing, but it was enough of a check for me to have this higher level of conviction that, if you do the work, it will work. So that was, I think, part of it. That was one of the, I guess, first epiphanies for me. I don't think everybody has to see that the proof is in the pudding themselves, especially like in a company like Isogenics. You got over 200 millionaires. You got people that are making, I think just to be in the top 100 in the company or something like that, you got to be making more than 300 grand a year. Top 100. There are people like where the top earners in network marketing companies aren't making 300 grand a year. So just to be in the top 100, the stories are already there. You can lean on the stories and the successes of other people to give you the belief and the conviction that what you're involved in definitely does work.
Cool. Let's open it up. Anyone who's got questions, we got Todd on here, and he's going to give you great feedback. Jojo.
Hey, Todd. Thanks so much for being on tonight. And Vinny says hi. He's laying over here in his recliner from his back surgery, but he's sending love to you. And you know what? We want to give kudos to Chad for deciding that, saying what he really wanted was to have you on this call and stepping up to reach out to you to ask you to be here. So thanks so much for taking time to do that. But there was two things that I heard you say in August from the stage, which was a story that you told about seeing a real estate agent sign and a story about seeing an insurance agent's ad on a shopping cart. And so I know those are two kind of little short stories, but I think will be beneficial to show that there's people everywhere and how to make that a lead. And could you share those real quick?
Yeah. In fact, I'll share that whole little coming home from the event story. So one of the things that I think there's a phrase, the eyes cannot see the things that they're not yet trained to see. So I've just trained myself to look at things and ask myself, is that an opportunity? And opportunities are literally everywhere. People drive by opportunities every day, but they're not perceiving them as opportunities. They're so, I don't know, they're just okay, I can only talk to my warm market or something, and they don't think outside of the box a little bit. And I just started thinking years ago, I started recruiting professional people, realtors, insurance agents, mortgage people. That just became something I really enjoyed doing. And so I keep in my car a legal yellow pad like this wedged between my center console and my seat. And I do that for this specific reason, so that when I drive by for sale sign for, a realtor, for example, I'll write their name and phone number down. So I'll give you a quick example. And by the way, for those of you that are part-time, this is really important you pay attention to this, because a lot of people, one of the biggest excuses people talk about is, I just don't have the time. Everybody's busy. I don't have the time. So I come home from this event. This is years ago when I was actively building in the field. I'd been gone for like 4 or 5 days. I know my mailbox is full. My refrigerator's empty. I drop my bag, get in my car, drive into the store, which is, 5 minutes from my house. And as I'm leaving my neighborhood, I see this for sale sign. And to me, that's an opportunity. So I slow down and I pull out my yellow pad, write the realtor's name and phone number down, and didn't stop, didn't go in the house, just wrote her name and number down. And I, pulled my phone out while I was driving on this little errand running session. I'm errand running now. I'm not sitting here prospecting. I'm running an errand. And I just called her up and said, good afternoon, this is Jan. I said, hey, Jan, this is Todd Falcone. How's it going? She said, good. What can I do for you? I said, hey, I was just driving by your listing here in Beaver Lake Estates. And she's like, great. Are you interested in the home? I said, well, I actually live right down the street. And I know that you're really actively involved in the real estate community here on the Sammamish Plateau. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm actually in the process of expanding my business here. And I love working with professional people. I happen to work with quite a few people in the real estate industry. And I just have a very simple question for you, Jan, and that is, do you at all keep your options open in terms of making money outside of what you're currently doing as a real estate professional? Just a question, pique interest question. She said, well, as a matter of fact, I do. And of course, I didn't get her the information right then and there, but I found somebody who was open on an errand running session. I'm just driving to go to the store, but I made the phone call. Now I show up to my little strip center where there's my post office box and a little coffee shop. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, go in the coffee shop, and I walk in there, and on the coffee shop wall, there's a cork board, and up on the wall, there's, business cards, people post their stuff, and I know what I'm looking for, and I'm, waiting for my green tea, and I'm like, oh, there's a realtor. Oh, there's a personal fitness trainer. Oh, there's a mortgage person. I pulled the 3 cards down and put them in my pocket, went next door, grabbed my mail, went over to the grocery store, which is right next to the post office place, and I'm pushing my cart through, and all of a sudden I realized that there's this little miniature man on my grocery cart. And it's this guy named Greg, and it's a State Farm ad on my grocery cart. And I literally, while I'm in the grocery store, I pull my phone out, and I'm like, can I speak with Greg, please? And the assistant transfers me to Greg. And I said, hey, Greg, this is Todd Falcone. He said, what can I do for you? I said, hey, I'm looking at your smiling face between my tomatoes and my eggs. And he starts laughing. He's like, you must be seeing my ad on the shopping cart. I said, I'm literally looking at you between my tomatoes and my eggs. I said, listen, man. I said, obviously, if you're running this ad, you're looking to grow your State Farm business. I'm an entrepreneur. I love working with professional people. Very simple question for you. Do you at all keep your options open in terms of making money outside of what you're currently doing with State Farm? And he said, yeah, I absolutely do. I said, well, listen, I can see your office is right around the corner from my house. Is it possible we get together next week, either Monday or Tuesday? And I ended up scheduling an appointment with him. I think it was either one of those 2 days. I sat down with him, I met with him, and I ended up signing Greg into my business on that first appointment. Now, does it happen like that every time? No, it doesn't. But in that case, it did. Now, back up a second. I did that call, set up that appointment. I'm driving home, and on my drive home, I have the personal fitness trainer, the mortgage broker, and the realtor business card. I called all 3 of those, again, on an errand running session. On my drive home, 2 out of those 3 people said yes to me. So on just downtime, which most people don't even think about, they're just driving, I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 phone calls, and 4 out of the 5 people said yes, they were open to an opportunity outside of what they're doing. So there's opportunities everywhere if you're willing to look at them and then take some kind of an action. And that's the simple peak interest question that I teach in my Insider Secrets Recruiting Professionals course. So that's what I do. They are everywhere.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that probably helped everybody a little bit. And every time I've heard you say it, it reiterates to me how simple it is, and everywhere it is, all you got to do is ask the question. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I appreciate the question.
So I'm sure you love, in reading in your book, you love the objection, I don't have time.
I mean, here's the thing. Obviously, if something's that important to you, you'll find the time. So, and that whole book, that whole section on overcoming objections, that was so detailed there. If you read that book and you go through and you practice those techniques, you'll be able to deal with any objection, any question that you get. And those are really the top 20 objections. I haven't heard anything too crazy outside of the objections that I put in that book, and I wanted to be as detailed as possible.
Yeah, and you did an awesome job of it. You fly through them, and like you said, the more consistently you go through them, that's what you get hit with every time you're talking with someone. It's one of those that you're listing in there, and you share exactly how to respond to it, and you bring it right back home each time. So that was really awesome.
Appreciate that.
Anyone else? Anyone else have some questions to throw out there? And we don't want to keep you too much longer, Todd. I know you got a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, no problem.
The floor is open, guys and girls.
Todd, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You mentioned how you were somewhere and you saw cork boards and you were like, oh, okay, getting your tea and waiting for stuff to be done, whatever you were doing. And you were like, oh, this card, that card, that card, that card. Well, we host over in my area a Wellness Tuesday event that we do live through Facebook, invite people, talk about what we do, and then they can ask questions. We make flyers, like we created them. Don't mention isogenics, obviously, but we mention everything on there that you can benefit, like, weight loss and healthy aging, performance, energy, etc. That we have samples of the shakes and other things. And we have our phone numbers attached to each. We also all have business cards. And I go to local businesses and cork boards in food stores, and I put them up. And, I don't know if and when they go, who takes them, do they get pulled down weekly? But you said you were pulling down cards, specific, or would you just grab anything? Like when you're just shopping around yourself personally, you're not needing to do what I do. Like in the growing term, you're grown, you're all grown up. Would I pull down just anybody, or are you saying to target like specific types of businesses, or is anything a go?
I mean, honestly, I think anything's a go. I tend to go after professional people that I think might make a good match with what we do in terms of the types of activities that are involved in network marketing. So people that are already, maybe they're already involved in selling or earning money on commissions, or in your case, maybe they're involved in health and wellness or personal fitness or something like that. But I mean, who's to say a contractor that's got a contractor card up on the wall isn't totally fried with like hammering nails all day? I mean, unless you ask, you don't ever get. So I would, and anybody who's putting a card up on a wall like that, they're doing so to grow their business. They're looking to drum up their business. So I don't even think I would discriminate. I would grab whatever I could. I mean, I don't know if I would take maybe I would take take a picture of the cork board and then leave the card up there for somebody else to grab it. But
Sure.
I don't think I would discriminate, because you never know until you ask. I mean, if you ask a question, we can we can go, well, because they're successful in this, or because they do that, they would crush it in this business. But you're gonna have so many people that come in that are gonna totally surprise you. You're gonna bring somebody in that you're thinking, oh my goodness, I don't even know if he can't even hardly talk to people right now. We'll see how he does.
Right.
And 8-star platinum, whatever. I mean, it ends up going and crushing it. You just never know until you ask.
Right. And you think people are constantly like and you said it yourself, like a construction worker. To me, what does that say? A union worker, construction worker, somebody who works in the oil business, in and out of a truck all day long, like delivering gas, whatever it may be. And they're probably burned out, tired, like eating God knows what they can grab, or they packed in the morning. Who knows if they know what good or bad health is. So I was like, you know what? It's so funny because I put my cards up. I put them out. I take them to tanning salons and other places, eyeglass places, whatever it is in my local area. And I never think to take one back. And this call tonight just triggered that to me to like, oh my God, Alex, when you're putting one up, take one down or take a picture. Like you said, if there's only one, don't leave somebody else without the option to want that actual, benefit of whatever they offer. But I kind of think about everybody. Stay-at-home moms with 3 kids, that's tiring. You know what I mean? That's going to wipe anybody out because you're just doing the kids all day. Who doesn't want a little stress relief, Ionics, and all the beautiful things that come with it, So I'm really glad you said that and took my question, because now that has me thinking one more level outside of what I do to backspin on taking theirs and reaching out to them. And I did write down your little quote with the options outside of their business. Are you willing to keep it open? I love that. So thank you seriously so much.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I helped you out there.
Absolutely, you did. Totally. Thank you, Todd.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question. Hi, Todd.
Hey.
Hey. Thank you. And I know you're not on here to plug. You're totally in giving to us, and I appreciate that about you. You're awesome that way. And I will fearlessly plug for you that your A-team is bomb. So if anybody's considering that, it's worth taking. And lots of us are like, yes, yes, yes. So I read Fearless Networker. Thank you for putting it on Amazon so that I could download it to my Kindle. And a lot of the quotes are in there, and to be able to really work through the scripts. I don't have the little black book of scripts, but you talk about it in there. Is it the same, or does it have different scripts? So I should get that also.
No, it's very, very different. The Little Black Book of Scripts is a complete script book. So the entire book is warm market product scripts, warm market business scripts, close family member scripts, distant friend scripts, cold, somebody that you met at a mixer, recruiting professionals, referral scripts, if you're asked to host a conference call script, voicemail scripts. It's literally everything that I've ever used script-wise in one book. And then it comes with, if you get the physical one, it comes with 2 audio CDs where I go through the entire script book with you. So instead of just handing you the scripts and say, hey, this is how you go do it, it's a lot better when you understand the intonation and how the script would be delivered rather than you just reading out of the book. And the digital version, if somebody gets the digital version, it comes with the audios as well. It's just not CD, but it is an entire script book. And that's been, I think it's been my all-time bestseller for like the last 8-9 years. So there's a lot more scripts in that than there are in Fearless Networking. So
okay, awesome.
Definitely would be a good add-on.
All right, I will do it. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick since you brought up A-Team, just to give you guys a heads up, I know I see several faces and names that were in my last one that ended just a couple weeks ago. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's a 12-week accountability program that I've been running since 2008. And the short analogy is kind of like hiring a personal fitness trainer, but for your business. And what I've done, and I did this years ago when I was in the field and I had people on my team that kept saying, I want to do, but then they weren't doing. So I thought, well, what can we do to like create some kind of an accountability group so people actually do the things that they say that they want to do? And we found that we had higher productivity across the board within the organization that I was growing. And then when I started training for the first several years, I didn't even think about running accountability programs. In 2008, I thought, wow, I wonder if we could do this with people in different companies. So I kind of redesigned it a little bit, and I've been running them now for 8 years or whatever. And we run it 3 times a year. It's a 12-week accountability program. The next one starts on January 10th. And the timing for this Zoom's kind of interesting because one of the things that I've been doing, I ran a promotion where when you come into A-Team, you can bring in a buddy for free. So it basically takes the price of it and cuts it in half if you grab like a teammate. Like so let's say you got someone in your organization that you want to run with in first quarter. You can bring them in for free. So, or, they can pay you the other half or whatever you want to do with it. But it essentially takes the pricing and cuts it in half. But that bring a buddy in for free ends on December 15th. So for those of you that may be interested in really running hard in first quarter, A-Team is really powerful when you treat it seriously, it will make you do more. I can tell you right now that if you're really ready to up your game and do more, again, it's like, so most of you guys, if you're in Isogenics, probably have worked out with a trainer. And when you work out with a trainer, you work harder with a personal trainer because they kick your butt, period. They're standing there going, dude, push, 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 push. Don't be weak. Come on, push it. 2 more reps. No, you got it. You got it. And, you know, when you go to the gym by yourself, you can kind of cruise. And I've done it myself. I worked out with a trainer, worked out without a trainer, and I go in there. I'm going in with this attitude as I'm going to have this killer workout. And then I kind of get through, and then I find myself walking out of the gym. I'm like, what the hell am I walking out of the gym for already? Where's the trainer within me, you know? So sometimes we need a little extra helping hand. That's really kind of what A-Team is, but for your network marketing business. And just know that if you do want to do it, if you register before the 15th, then you can bring in a buddy for free. I actually just put the link in the chat section. So for those of you that don't know about it, you can see all the details there. And I would certainly love to push you and encourage you and train you. And what's really eye-opening is the amount of, because we have you track your numbers. We have you track your revenue-producing numbers, and you have to turn them into the group each week, which really puts you in this position where I'm like, I want to do good numbers this week. And the people that treat it seriously really see dramatic improvements in their business. So I appreciate the kind words about A-Team, and I see a bunch of nods and all of that on the pictures out there. So I appreciate positive feedback.
Definitely ignites momentum. That's for darn sure. Mona had a question. And then we'll probably cut it after this one.
I did. And it's interesting because the question I was going to ask, I had no idea that you guys were going to talk about scripts, but my question is about scripts. So, Todd, you mentioned your 5 contacts, and you just jump right in and ask if they are interested in another revenue-generating opportunity, or I forget your words because I don't own your little black book of scripts. But do you jump into that question that fast with anyone that is an entrepreneur by nature, or did you just happen to because that was such a cold market, so you're like, all right, I'll just throw it out there? Like, how do you choose when to just jump right in and when to build a little more in the relationship before you jump into the question?
That's a great question, Mona. If I'm doing what I just explained, like I see a business card or I see a real estate sign, I don't know the person. It's kind of, it's essentially we can call it a cold call. To me, it's just a friend that I haven't met yet. So I don't really look at it as a cold call because I think people are intimidated by cold calls. But to me, it's just I'm calling somebody to see if they might be open to a cool idea and see if they're open to, some way to change the quality of their life. So in that instance, I will absolutely pick up the phone and ask the direct peak interest question. I'll go right to it. Listen, I'm calling you. I just saw your real estate sign, or, hey, I'm looking at your smiling face on your website with Coldwell Banker and Corona Del Mar. I'm in the process of expanding my company down there and was looking at your bio and thought I needed to give you a call. You seem like you're really, type of person I want to connect with. I just got a very simple question for you. Do you at all keep your options open in terms of making any money outside of what you're currently doing with Coldwell Banker? In those types of instances, yes, I will ask a direct question. If I met you at like a holiday party, I wouldn't be like, hey, Mona, do you keep your options open at all in terms of making money outside of what you're currently doing? I would be all like, Mona, so tell me about you. So where are you from? What do you do? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Do you have kids? Where you da-da-da? I would be, you would leave the conversation with me going, that dude was so cool. And you may not even know my name because I'm not going to talk about me. And that's the big difference. Like that's that whole concept of, that comes out of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, being genuinely interested, not interesting, where people will literally fall all over you because you're so different. Like, think about it. Most people ask questions so that they can respond back. They're not asking questions like, in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, seek first to understand, then to be understood. So I think that's such a powerful concept that when people adopt that in network marketing, they see great successes because they're really being genuine, they're being real, they're being authentic. You might have your business and you might love to, I might meet you at a holiday party and you seem like a really cool lady and think, gosh, you'd be awesome to have in my business. But I'm not like target shooting, trying to get you in my business. To me, it's about making a real genuine connection. And then when and if the time is right, I may segue into something or, bring it up, but it probably wouldn't happen. I definitely wouldn't do right away, ask that peak interest question for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Hey, Chad, could I ask a quick follow-up to those two questions?
Yeah.
So Todd, when you call all of those individuals and they're, cold calls or whatever, for the one individual who said no thank you, do you follow up with them, or how do you leave that open to follow up with them later, possibly?
If I ask the question and they are straight up no, I'm totally focused, I probably won't call that person back a second time. Especially if it's just some, call that I made from a for sale sign or something. It depends on where the conversation goes. If it goes any further, if we have a little chat, they end up taking a look at the business and they decide it's not for them at this time, I'll keep them in my tickler file and maybe get back to them. But if it's a straight no, I'll just say, look, I appreciate your time. And, a lot of times a realtor, for example, may say, no, I'm 100% focused on my real estate business. I'm like, good, I appreciate focus. I value focus. I get it. And, I appreciate your time. You have a wonderful day. And that's it. You're welcome.
All right. So, toddfalcone.com. Check out the A-Team, the Fearless Networking book. If you don't have it already, if you haven't read it, definitely grab that. It's amazing. The Little Black Book of Scripts. Anything else, Todd? Anything else you want to share with us that we can use as a tool?
Well, I don't want to turn this into a sales pitch on all my training programs.
Well, can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
A couple other trainers have said this too. That if a trainer, if a coach, if someone resonates with you, gobble up any stuff that they have, because there's too many people who kind of piecemeal. They'll have a book from this person, a book from this person, a book from this person, a book from this person. If there's someone that really tugs at you and it just gets in your head and it gets you to take action immediately, just gobble all the information up that you can. So if you resonate, go after it. So anything you got, Todd?
Well, if you go to toddfalcone.com and you scroll through my blog, there's hundreds of videos within the blog. There's my Fearless Academy, which is for serious people that really want to go through a serious educational journey. You can see what that's about. It's right on the front page of my site. If you resonate with, I'm very direct. I don't like I said, I'm blunt. I don't beat around the bush. I don't have the time for it. I always liked it when people just told me the truth about what it takes to be successful, not, make it sound like Fantasy Island. And, even though it can be really awesome, it's work. And I'd rather tell people the honest to goodness truth about what it takes to be successful. There's a lot of free resources just on my site that you can plug into, from video blog posts. You plug into my newsletter there. You get updated when I throw out a new blog post or when I do another Monday night call. But there's a lot of content that, if you're operating on a budget and A-Team, is something that you can't do, for example, then, you can certainly plug into a lot of the stuff that's on the site that's free content.
Cool. Excellent, man. Thank you so very much for coming on this call.
You are welcome. I appreciate the opportunity and appreciate all of you guys. You're in a great company, but it's not automatic. As good as Isogenics is, you got to get to work. And it's so good that you shouldn't keep it a secret. Don't keep it a secret. Get out there and talk to people.
And your phrase at the end of your book here, what we did tonight, soak and apply.
Yeah.
Get out there and take action, like you said, and make things happen. So appreciate your time, Todd.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful evening, a great week, and we'll see you someplace soon.
Have a good night, everyone.
Oh, good night.
Thank you,
Thank
Todd. You guys are all muted, so if you want to unmute and give him a shout out, please do.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you guys.
Thanks, Todd.
Have a
Thanks,
great
Todd.
night.
Thank you.
Vinny.
Later.